Welcome to the ET Stand, the Cronulla Sharks fan podcast. You idiots, I'm just laughing at these clowns just trying to make faces at me in the background. On this episode of the ET Stand podcast, we are going to work out, stop it, you idiots. We're going to try and work out what a dynasty is and if the Cronulla Sharks can ever build one of their own. We're just not content with one premier. These idiots in the background, I'm going to stop them from pulling faces at me. Let's just bring them in. That is Boldo's Tears. Chris Kelly, who would you move?
Where do we start? I'm glad Boldo didn't grow up in Egypt times because that's a terrible looking pyramid. It would have fallen over and collapsed by now. And given that he just Googled the squad and put Matt Ikavalu in the bottom and he hasn't been there since half of last year, a pyramid would have fallen.
He's still on the page.
The pyramid would have fallen over. You would have been missing a foundation piece and it's fallen over.
Oh, Maloney is still intercept. Away goes James Maloney. They're kicking him home, the Sharks fans. Maloney is there. Healy. It's Healy has scored on his departure day. Mitch Healy gets a try. The crowd have gone absolutely bereft.
In amongst all of that, Lat's had an awesome story about how awesome this Finau guy was, and then Boldo concludes it with like, yeah, Finucane, how good is he? And everyone's like,
I don't even know who Finau is. I just assumed that Finau was the same guy as Finucane. Is that a different person? I didn't know that. Who the hell's Finau?
Wow. This is how flawed the tears are. He doesn't even know half the team.
Boldo.
This is where the tears bit comes into it.
I'm listening to the card going, did my stream just like skip 30 seconds or something? Like, no, it was just Boldo just playing along. But anyway.
Leachy, great ball to Campbell. He's away.
Campbell to the 30-metre line. Now, Colin Best heading to the corner. Gets it back on the inside. Graham, they're over. Nick Graham has scored. 4 minutes into the game. And it's away. Here they are. Pryor. Can he get it there? Yes, he can. Matt Pryor, an unlikely first try scorer for the Sharks.
Interesting enough that the North Bears are getting that desperate. They're talking about having a Pacific Bears team so they can sort of engulf those Pacific nations and sort of get that ball rolling where they think they can sort of, take on the Cook Islands and the Samoans and the Tongas and sort of make it their team. So PNG's to go for me.
I'm pretty convinced after that. All right, Franco, what do you got?
Mate, can I rebuttal that, or am I giving a different answer?
Go for it. Enough arguments on this podcast. Come on,
you're going to throw out cans, and they're going to play out of cans.
Ever. That is the dumbest idea ever.
Townsend now calling the shots with Johnson off. They will go. Gallen, field goal. Paul Gallen field goal. That is amazing. That is ridiculous. Away. It's back to Smith. Smith gets it away to Cronk. Cronk's got Korobetti with it. Have they got a chance here? Korobetti's put down. The siren sounds. Cronulla have won it. Cronulla have won it. 14-12. You can turn the light out now.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence. elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the E.T. Stand Podcast.
Can the Sharks make it 8 in a row and keep the streak going? And will a popular E.T. Stand podcast host back down from his self-inflicted strike? Welcome to the E.T. Stand, the Cronulla Sharks fan podcast, which is letting its talking to the football and the only sports podcast in the world that gets finished off early because of Matthew Williams. Hello to everyone listening to us on Spotify and those who are on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button. We are getting close to 200 subscribers on YouTube, which is just an amazing result for us. So if we can get to 200 tonight, I'm hoping I can convince Franco to come back. Everyone watching the show, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It gives us so much support and helps us with the algorithm and gets us in front of as many Sharks fans as we possibly can. And yes, conspicuous by his absence, Franco is on strike, fellas. Is he annoyed with Williams for ending the stream early last week in one of the most comical moments in our little podcast history? Or is it because he's annoyed with me because I want us to talk about the winning streak and he thinks we're going to put the mock on it and the jinx? So you fellas will have the chance, I guess, to also join him on strike later and decide if this is the mock. But yeah, on this episode, we're going to consider curtailing our expectations with a underreaction, overreaction segment. Lats gives us his social media roundup. We're going to preview the Panthers clash. CK takes us through his all-time Sharks Panthers players list of top 17 from both teams. Couple of omissions there, which I think will be interesting. And then whoever's prepared to talk to me about it will talk at past winning Shark streaks. CK goes around the league, and hopefully we can convince Franco to come back, and I'm going to give him his own segment a little bit later. And I've just realised I haven't shown the sides there. There it is. Before we go any further, we'll just start with you, Williams, and the technical difficulties that was last week. For anyone who caught the debrief post the massive win over the Roosters, the ET Stand panel was in their glory, loving life, talking through Sharks. We had a guest come into the show. Poor Annalise just got cut off. What happened, Williams?
Well, I got invited on the show to say a few words, and I was very excited. Obviously, so excited that I was a guest that was given admin rights, and in trying to close the tab, I suppose I hit end stream within about half a second. I was like, "Can I undo this?" No, I can't. Quick, get back online, and hey guys, you're not on air anymore. So yeah, so excited that I ended the stream. Maybe I should have done that when I was on Hard Quiz before I choked. Maybe it would have been like, just stop it now. Yeah. Sing the song now. But
maybe if you're in the lead. It was incredibly funny.
I think it's ironic, though, that you're giving the guy that ended the stream the opportunity to have the final say as well. So,
this isn't the final say. I'm pretty sure.
This is my opening statement before I get cross-examined.
Just an opening apology to Franco and Lats and Kelly and the poor viewers. But
sincere apology to Franco, but also to, I suppose, it gave us the opportunity to have 2 videos on YouTube that got pretty good viewership, so doubled our numbers there. Obviously, I was very excited about the Roosters win. I still am. It's tempered a little bit after having watched the replay. I do agree that the Roosters were good, but also too they'll get better throughout the year, and we do need to be more dynamic in attack. I've got my own thoughts on Trindle versus Atkinson. I think Trindle would do well to come back into the side with a few things that he brings to it, but still a great win and probably one of the biggest had given everything around it. So, but that all means nothing come this week, and we'll chat about streaks and their importance, or in my view, lack thereof. But don't put the mock on later.
All right, we've had some comments coming through. Please get involved in the show, and we enjoy it when anyone comments. So SJD's come through, and rightfully so. Williams, we've been talking about this for 17 years. I don't know if that's long enough. I think we might be talking about this forever.
I wish we had a blooper reel. Right. I wish we could have done a background green room blooper reel and just watched the panic and the shenanigans go around the background.
If that was recorded, that would have been good.
Well, the funny moment is also when I just had to jump in and then start a second stream, and then Franco joins in, also thinking that's not live. and then starts like organising things. We're like, yeah, Franco, we're like live on YouTube now, buddy. So it's just absolutely hilarious.
Live TV.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
So other than that, our dear friend Harley's come through. Yes, Sharks will win game versus the Panthers. Bit of revenge for us. Yep, let's get them. And then SJG just giving Harley a bit of encouragement there, because basically when Harley tips the Sharks at the moment, we don't seem to be losing. So that is just terrific form for us. Let's head into the first segment of the show today, wherever you are in the world, is Laps's social media reaction. I will hit present and share
End stream? No. Sorry, share screen.
Let's try
the red
and not
button.
hit.
The other red
Let's
button.
try and
Hands up, Williams. Hands up.
Yeah, Williams, hands.
Oh.
Get your hands up, Williams. All right, Laps, what's going on in the world of socials with the Sharks, buddy?
All right, mate. There's been a fair amount of concern amongst the socials aimed at Ronaldo in regards to him leaving his wing position regularly and being caught infield, which led to a couple of tries scored against us over the weekend by Dom Young. I think he needs to be a little bit more selective of when he does jam in, given now that Trindle Atkinson helps over that side, as well as Wilton, and Kale Iro's quite good in cover defence on that left side as well. But there were many posts about it, more so predominantly straight after the tries were scored, but there still has been a bit of chatter around the socials in regards to that right through the week. So it's one to watch and see what happens there going forward.
Well, like the old Gordon Tallis, wingers score tries because they're marked by other wingers.
It's probably the best screenshot you got there to put in the video session for the boys and say, Ronnie, this is it.
Yep.
See where you are right now?
You'd have to think Kale Iro is tackling him there.
He is. They got 4-3 there.
That's right. He was covered. He had him nice around the waist, easy. He would have had him covered. Didn't have to come in.
If the shape starts earlier, though. It is Atkinson's side. Of Ronnie copped a fair bit of this back in 2019, 2020 when he first came into first grade, including, I remember, a particular match at Cogra where you could almost hear the crowd kind of on the cameras saying, stay on your wing, dude. But, obviously, Fitz, I'm sure the whole team's working at this in their shape. But, agreed. It's happened. Or come back into his game a bit. So obviously he's a smart guy. He's improved his, his attitude towards things and how he keeps his head where previously he wouldn't. I think that his part of his development will continue throughout the season. Better be having this problem at this time of the year than later.
Well, the scary part is that's not Joey Manu in that 3 jersey either. So if that was Joey Manu, there could have been anything. Like that was that's where he lives, is in that spot there. Flick pass or go on himself, and we're jamming in. We're in big trouble. So
Yep. Alrighty, on a positive note, Big Tommy, there's been massive shout-outs to his efforts lately in the socials, with one fan stating he is a new and improved version of the big Andrew Fafita. Big statement that, but the guy seems to be scoring tries for fun of late, outscoring both our regular 2 starting centres combined this year. So it's good numbers from the big fella, and I don't know how many of us are still left in the Tommy tipping comp, but these numbers are getting up there.
Well, his try scoring certainly that of Fafita's. What was it? I think it's 2013 was the Fafita scoring year, or was it 15? Where he just got bagged a whole bunch of tries. He doesn't have the motor that Fafita has, but just the sheer size, and when he comes on, given that the depth of the bench, and we can rest, basically either play Tommy in that middle section when he's coming off the bench, but he now seems to be a better bench player for starter. Yeah, God, he's just he could easily be a bolter, Tommy, couldn't he, for the Origin? Wouldn't actually surprise me.
You've said that word. You said that dirty word to Chris Kelly. He doesn't like it.
All right, fair enough.
You know what it does do? It does create a bit of a threat for him in the middle, where teams will start to sweat on him a little bit more, and it opens more opportunities out wide, which is weird to say. So I think it's a good thing, and especially we're all excited about the AFB coming next, and he's scoring just as many tries as Tommy. So then we're
I think that's got something to do with the forwards firing up so much. They know they've got someone good coming next year, and they're going to have to earn their spot.
Yeah.
So
that's Franco's Nickera thinking, which is Nickera doesn't score as much now because they're marking up on him, and it's now opening up stuff for other players. So
Teague especially.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right, that's Tommy. Jeez, we're just talking. He might be our most talked about player on this.
Geez, he can't be far off. I guess we'll see who's top of the tiers week after next. All right, the daily.
Alrighty. Yeah, that commanding performance in steering the Sharks to victory over the Roosters on Saturday saw Nico jump back to the joint lead for on the Dally M leaderboard, sharing the lead with Dylan Edwards on 30 points. Nico was also named New South Wales Blues Player of the Week yesterday, which surely sees him earn a halves position in the upcoming series. Maybe even a centre spot, who knows? But if Nico does play in the halves, who would you boys like to see partner him? For mine, it'd be Burton, just because he's got that dynamic kicking game, Burton, and he's not as much of an organiser as Hines. It'll allow Hines to steer the Blues around, and I think he'd be the best one in the halves with the Hines going forward for Origin.
I'd be picking Jerome Luai.
Yeah,
Burton
I think
couldn't even
Luai
get past Jerome Luai in the pen thing. And Luai's like a gun player. I think what will happen with the Daily M, just looking at those points, Nathan Cleary will come back and will take some of the points that Dylan Edwards is earning. So I reckon Nico's a good shot, injury free.
If anything, with the new double scoring system, 6, he's going to accumulate and rocket away. I mean, obviously, if Trbojevic comes back with a bit of an injury, I don't know when he's due back. He's another player that's got the potential to accumulate a lot, but he's in the same team as DCE. So, yeah, I think it might be Hines with a, let's say, asterisk again. I think he's fantastic, but the media will straight away be going, this is a flawed system, find something better, find something different. Can't reward a Shark.
On to the next.
Alrighty, Media Watch. We're starting to get taken a lot more seriously in the media now after these last couple of weeks. The NRL 360 panel breezed over early in last night's show, tended to speak more on Nico and Origin rather than the team's effort. We were discussed a little more in depth, though, by Cooper Cronk later in the show for his segment, where he put us right up there as main title contenders and stated it doesn't matter how we perform this coming weekend against the Panthers. We've already proven what we need to prove and shown everyone what we're capable of. Braith and Gordy didn't give us much, but Buzz and James Graham were giving us big raps. All right.
I like Cooper Cronk. I think he's one of the more on-point analytical ones. I can't see Braith and Astor ever giving us much.
No.
So I'm trying to convince Franco for ages to do a fire off on the commentators. So I have a feeling that he might be firing off on commentators for us later. But no. If we can even get him back. All right. 100%.
Alrighty. So Gus stated on 100% footy last night that one thing he learned over the weekend is that the Cronulla Sharks are the real deal. He's seen them play in all sorts of conditions, in the wet, in the wind and whatnot, and to go to Magic Round and win a 68-point shootout against the Roosters, he declared them that they are the real deal. So it's nice to get a little bit of acknowledgement there in the media.
Did you say it was a soft comp at the same time?
Gal hit him up for it and got stuck into him and said, so is it a soft comp? And he goes, I didn't say that. He said, yeah, but you have for the last few years. And it was a bit of back and forth, but he goes, no.
Yeah, right.
Not for what we've done the last couple of weeks. So.
Those, don't you? So
he keeps them honest.
Good having Gal. He's just such a legend, that guy. Soft comp, asterisk, my ass. All right, cool.
Alrighty, I came across a nice little article earlier today by Liam O'Loughlin of Widewater Sports in relation to Cale Iro's step up into regular first grade this year, and just the work that he's put in to get to this point and how he remained patient last season as he was overlooked by Fitzy and the coaching team. Iro states that he believes it was Fitzy getting him into the right mindset to be in the top grade, and that Fitzy always told him to trust that when his chance comes that he'll take it and he'll be ready. It also stated that he's had 29 tackle breaks over the last 7 weeks and averaged over 160 run meters with 100% win rate. So his numbers are very, very good, and he's really putting in.
He's not lost a match this season, has he?
No. So and Ramian went
all-time win percentages then, wouldn't he?
Well, he'd be up there. He played in one game in 2022, was it the Cowboys? Which I don't think we won.
Williams will tell us.
Was that Iro? He played. He played one match and we did win. It was on the wing against the Bulldogs at home.
The Bulldogs.
So, but he did get a bit of a
he copped a bit of
bad rap. Yeah, because he first half
under the high balls and whatnot.
He's not a winger. He spilled a few balls. Had a better second half.
Yep. Look at those Warwick Farms on him. Fair dinkum.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's looking
big guns.
There you go. Yeah, he's never lost a game, guys.
So
if he was to retire now, if we were to go back and look at our win percentages segment that we did much earlier in the year, he would be the all-time greatest winning Shark.
Well, he's played more than
Surpassing-
5 games, which is the qualifier.
Surpassing the great Edric Lee.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
Ramian, Ramian, when he was asked about Hero, stated that he could have easily gone to another club and got a start somewhere. But just to bide his time, wait and come in and do what he's doing has been great. You've still got Siffer there, and we all know what he's done at the centres and what he can do to a game. It just goes to show the level of depth here that we have at the club. So there were big raps there from Jesse in that article as well, and a nice little article it was.
Adam Fields come through and asked us if we've got any idea of what has happened to Braden Hamlin-Ueli. We can't.
I've heard whispers of a knee, just a minor knee complaint, but I heard that he limped off during that game against Melbourne. Towards the end of the game, he had a little bit of a niggle, but that's yet to be confirmed by the club.
Well, given the Sharks' form, they should be resting and no, we got to get ready for the finals. So we don't need to play Braden Hamlin-Ueli now. Let's just cue in the rack, save him for the final series, bring him back at the end.
Need to manage.
It's good to give Royce Hunt some match fitness and that as well. So
yeah, Royce hasn't played much. Hamlin-Ueli, because it wasn't, or I suppose the Sharks are keeping it close to their chest, all these injuries or basically not reporting. So he wasn't on any injury list last week and wasn't named in any side. They didn't comment on him. I think they're managing his load. You may well be any injury and we're just keeping it tight wraps. But it's good to see, I suppose, that it's being managed, because 2022 we ran out of puff. We had Royce Hunt and Hamlin-Ueli killing everyone around August. And then they both had injury troubles in the finals. So on Hamlin-Ueli, I suppose we're talking about loyalty. He obviously turned down the Warriors deal or offer, and Kale Hero is part of that same, I suppose, unity or united team where they're saying, okay, we need a squad of about 25 here, not just a 17. We all play a role. Let's be part of it.
Same with Cade Dykes. There's no injury report on Cade Dykes or no news. He wasn't in the squad. He didn't play with the Jets. Yep. So,
and he hasn't been listed this week.
Yeah, we'll get Francis in next week, fellas, and get him to talk us through the current injuries and also to outline what happens if a player plays for Origin and doubles up and the impact on them. So, Adam, we'll give you an injury update when we can get one.
Did you hear Freddie's theory? He was talking about the other day, saying that no animal's ever torn a hammy. I think he's incorrect, but he was saying that all the stress in the players' lives outside, and there's definitely something to it, that like obviously life is busy and you got to try and balance that outside noise and distraction that life presents. But I think he's a bit off with the
animals rarely to run at 100% of their potential pace.
Correct. They manage their load. Where rugby league players, it's a controlled managed load, but really it's in excess every time they step on the field.
Yeah, this is true. And then lastly, well, look, this is my own socials this week. So this is the last of my time internationally. So this week I featured on the Door on Tour Nottingham Forest YouTube channel at both the Chelsea match and also away to Burnley. And I can just say, goodness me, going to away matches with Premier League fans is just absolutely nuts. So if you do want to see me carrying on like a bullfed, then you can do that on the Door on Tour channel. We'll put the link in the description. Definitely my second love behind the Sharks is Nottingham Forest. All right, that is the week in socials. We've had another comment come through from our dear friend Les, who says, telling us that Dykes scored 3 tries last week for Newtown.
That was a week before.
2 weeks ago, yes.
Billy Burns scored a double last week, and I think everyone else in the team scored a try pretty much in that second half bashing of the Knights. So
Newcastle, yeah,
it was 12-all at half time, and I think they went on to win 54-12 or something. So
yes, big second half.
Yeah, Williams, when are you going to take us through reserve grade greatest victories ever? A list of your top 50?
Might be an off-season special. We'll have an anthology.
That sounds good. All right,
an origin list of reserve graders.
Yeah.
All right, the Sharks are doing very well at the moment, so I thought it was fitting for us to do an overreaction segment where Lat throws a bunch of questions at me, and I give a quick fire over/under reaction to try and curtail our expectations and not get too excited and too much in the belief category. And then Williams and Kelly will just call me a bullfed when I've gone too far or being too pessimistic.
That's
So
nice.
that's taken it away.
All right, we haven't done one of these for a while. I think it was the trials. So, so I'm looking forward to this one. So it's a little segment that we like to call Overreaction Tuesdays, as Boldo just referred to, where we strap the host into the hot seat and shoot him 5 statements, possibly controversial, in his direction, and he'll either agree with them or try and convince us otherwise. So are you ready, Boldo?
Yes, and I don't know what they are either, because I'm
don't
trying to get him to tell me what they were, and so it's just like pure reaction. So I guess we'll just see what happens.
Alrighty, mate. Atkinson should be our first choice starting 5'8" going forward, no matter who's fit or able to play.
I would say that's a slight overreaction, but understandable. Atkinson has proven his ability and worth into the team, and currently on form is the first selected 5'8" in the squad for mine. It's much akin to the Green, Dykes, Healy problems that we had in the late 90s that Matthew and I touched on in the classic Cronulla Chronicles of, Adam Dykes had to wait for his turn to get into the team and just couldn't really find his way. So at the moment for mine, Atkinson is the better option. I think the longer term solution, and Trindle might have done himself in here, but it doesn't hurt to have the depth. One thing we looked at was we were worried about the depth of the halves. I stick with Atkinson for now. But I have a feeling there's still space for Braden Trindle to play a role in this team moving forward.
Very good. Alrighty. Cam McInnes is one of our top 3 players currently, and should be in the top 3 tiers currently.
That is an overreaction.
Oh,
Cam McInnes is good, but you can't tell me that Cam McInnes is having more of an impact on the team than Sifa Talakai, Nico Hines, and Big Tom.
He's right up there, mate.
You said
the meters he makes, the work that he does in defence.
I wouldn't have him. I wouldn't have him commenting, no. So I wouldn't have him, no.
Time for rebuttal.
Yeah, time for
Get
rebuttal.
in there.
Yeah,
Get in there.
Look, we all know Boldo's bias against Cam McInnes and anyone named Cam in the universe. So I know it's hard for him to say, but you need to go back and watch the Melbourne game where you just named a player who wasn't in that team in Nico Hines, and he had to play 9, half, and lock. Didn't miss a tackle, topped the tackle count, was man of the match, almost just behind Atkinson. And he's currently the only captain. He was a co-captain. The other captain retired. He is currently now the only talked about player before the other halves fell out of this Origin-Smorigin game, that he was going to be the first Shark selected out of our squad. That's how well he is going.
I hear you, and I grant you that he's a useful and helpful player. But if we were going into a finals match, the first player we would want to stay in the team would definitely be Hines, then it's Brayley, and then it's Kenny. Like, those guys are more important. And you can't, and what about the final boss? And then there's Ronaldo. He's just not as good as those guys. He's playing well, but he's got to do a bit more to get up the top of my tiers, I think. But you never know. We'll see.
Watch this space.
We'll see. SJD's just come through and commented on our last overreaction that Tricky has a better combo with Hines still. Maybe.
Yeah, we touched on the debrief. It was more, I don't know, Williams wants to speak on it as well. Atkinson, I like his running game, his defence is really well, but the thing that Trindle brings is that nice long kicking game, those kick to the corners, those kind of things that you need to do in big games like the finals, where you've got to turn the screws and literally turn those teams around. So I think that's where you'll see Trindle's the back end of the season.
Yeah, Boldo raised it the other day that with Atkinson and the attacking plays, the sweeps, that they're just a little bit more clunky. Don't get me wrong, he's done infinitely better than I thought he would, but I think with Trindle offers a bit more a better foil for Hines, so they're not targeted as much. Atkinson, he's doing fantastic, but I think that Trindle will be more beneficial throughout the season. I think it affects our bench, so if we put Atkinson in 14, but I think Atkinson would be a fantastic benchy.
Now going back to the actual one you were talking about, SJD's come and given us the Fitzies, the coaches tiers. SJD's come through with, he's saying it's Hines, Talakai, and Ronaldo. It's tough to argue with that, but I'm going to say no to you on Cam McInnes. We're blending them a little bit, but who knows? All right, let's keep going. On to the next.
Should Talakai remain an impact bench player for the remainder of the season?
I think right now he is the impact player, and I think he is giving us a lot off the bench and making us the strong team that we are. He will come back into the team at some point. There will be an injury. Ramian will go down, or Hero, or someone will go down, or perhaps in the second row. But
Origin,
for now,
perhaps.
that's the spot that he's in. Also, Talakai is a little bit injury prone, so by having him come off the bench means that we're reducing the minutes that we're asking of him, so it means that he's likely to make it through to the end. We have to focus on winning finals matches. So I'd rather drop games now, between now and the end of the season, and finish third or second than finish first. So let's keep him fit.
Very good. Alrighty. Sharks will have at least 4 players represent in Origin.
I reckon that's an overreaction. I would say we might. There's a chance we don't have any, to be honest, because the Cronulla Sharks frequently get overlooked. I think there's a chance that there's mail that Moses is going to play halfback.
He's not playing this week now. Moses, they're keeping him out another week, so he's not up for selection.
Well, until he doesn't, yeah, right. Well, then I guess Hines gets picked. But 4 would be a lot. I think our record is 5.
I think we'll end up with 3.
Yeah, maybe 3, maybe 2. I'll just say to you, SJD, this is not a rip-off of Gus's segment, 6 tackles. It's a rip-off of Rich Eisen on the NFL Network, actually.
Please don't tell them.
Off Rich Eisen.
Nothing to do with Gus.
Nothing to do with Gus. All right, next one.
And we don't get amongst the socials and ask everyone to put in to ask our questions. We're able to come out with our own, so we've got Gus covered on that one.
Fair enough.
Alrighty. Finally, mate, the third try principle has now been proven to be rubbish and is unreliable.
What do you mean? We scored the third try this week. So for those that are regular listeners of the classic Cronulla Chronicles, you will notice that every time the Sharks win in that Cronulla Chronicles, they almost always score the third try. I'm telling you, the third try is the pivotal moment in most rugby league matches. It doesn't always work, but it works. 75%.
Prelim final, grand final 2016. It was crucial in the game against Canberra, I'll give you that, but the other two.
I think Melbourne scored third try 2 weeks ago, didn't they?
Yep. They did.
Yeah, it doesn't always work.
And just for our viewers and listeners,
60% of the time it works every time.
I think there was a slightly inebriated Boldo approached Shane Flanagan once and tried to explain the theory and chewed his ear off for about half an hour.
I gave him a hard time about taking the 2. Goodness.
Yeah.
And he bloody took the 2 after that too, Shane Flanagan. All right. Is that all we got?
Game in 2011 against the Dragons when Nathan Gardner took the tap. But anyway, you obviously didn't get into him before then.
Oh, well, yeah, we were all angry with Nathan Gardner for that one. All right. That was overreaction, underreaction as we head into the Panthers round 12 preview. And I will just start off by saying and answering your question, Ryan. First time commenting from Ryan. He says, is Boldo tipping the Panthers this week? And I can confirm that Boldo is not tipping the Panthers this week. I'm definitely tipping the Sharks. The Cronulla Sharks welcome fellow 1967 competition entrants and 3-time premiers, or 3-peat premiers, the Penrith Panthers to Point Bet Stadium for a mouth-watering Saturday evening clash. Well, no, 3-timers in the last 3.
Yeah.
We're going to call you
wrong again.
Dynasty times.
Oh, yeah,
Bring on
Dynasty. All right,
Bring on the trivia.
After dropping points to Inspired Warriors, who were well supported at Magic Round. Without Cleary, they're a different team. And so can the Sharks maintain their dream start to the season and take another scalp with an asterisk? I'm tipping the Sharks by 7. Still too much to prove, and a few players pushing their Origin credentials will be enough motivation. And with the returning David Bolderman, who will again not win the members prize at Shark Park this Saturday, I think we'll have too much for them. Williams, give us the historical overview, a bit about the Sharks' Panthers history. What do we need to know?
So obviously we both came into the comp in 1967 together. We are brothers in that regard. They're the third most, the team that we played against the third most amount of times. The Roosters, number 1 with 102 matches. The Bulldogs, number 2 with 100 matches. Penrith, number 3 with 99 matches. We've had the wood on them overall, but of late we've only won one of the last 7. But we had a good record prior to that. So 99 matches, 52 to us, 44 to them, 3 draws. In the overall points tally, the Sharks lead 1,903 to 1,783. So we've got a tight little lead on aggregate there if we're qualifying for a World Cup via a 100-leg qualifier. So we have at Shark Park played, what's that stadium? PointsBet Stadium. We played 46 times. We've won 29. They've won 14. The longest win streak we've had is 6 in a row. We haven't played them at Shark Park in a long time. The last time we beat them was at Cogra. That was the famous Matt Moylan runaway try. The last time we beat them at Shark Park was in 2019, where we were down 14-0 early and then 20 points to 6 down. Do you remember who made his debut that day? In our current team now?
Ronnie? I don't know.
No, he had a bit of a shocker. I remember he was getting smashed by everyone, probably us too. His name was William Kennedy. He dropped 2 grubbers. Nathan.
He did too. That's right.
Gave up tries to the Panthers, but we know the rest is history there with his career. Bronson Sherry scored that length of field try, which I'm pretty sure Josh Dugan tripped over. I think it was DWZ chasing him, but they didn't look at that. There was no review system at that point. We came back to win 24-20. So we've got a good record over them overall. Obviously, of late they've had the lion's share of the wins on us, given they've been really, really good, including putting 56 points on us at Cogra with what's his name, Charlie Stain scoring 4 tries and then breaching COVID security. So hopefully things are a bit different this week. Return to Shark Park. And interesting enough, we didn't play them at home last year, the year before. So I think in 2022, if we played them at home, we would have beaten them. Last year, we probably wouldn't have the way we're going. Our last start was a 30-0 loss where we lost Kennedy again to a hamstring injury basically for the season, but we started to turn the corner there. That was, I think we had Talakai playing the wing, decimated by injury, and the team was galvanised in the second half. McInnes almost broke the record for most tackles. So yeah, I think we're going to be up for another hard one. I think there's been a few predictions in the media that we're going to trounce them without Cleary and the way we went on the weekend. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. They do seem to trouble us, like that home game in 2016 on the Anzac weekend. Isaiah Yeo went crazy and Jamie Soward missed a conversion attempt from the sideline to tie it up, I think, right on full time. So, they're obviously a very good team. I think we'll win by 4.
All right, Williams' tips in. So we've got 2 Sharks tips so far. Let us go and look at the teams that were named today. We will just go like that. There we go, Mr. Kelly. And then I will give you the Sharks team named to take on the Panthers this week. Hold on. There we go, Chris.
All right, well, as everyone knows, the Sharks give me the easiest job every single week, and that's naming the exact same team every single week. So nothing edited out of the team that beat the Roosters, from Kennedy to Katoa, Iro Mulatalo, Atkinson Hines, Big Tommy, Brayley, Kafusi, Nakora, Wilton, and Captain Cam, with Williams, Talakai, Hunt, and Tupahua running out the bench as the super bench, as we know. So again, same 1 to 17, it doesn't change. Consistency is the key, and hopefully this team does the exact same thing as they did the last 2 weeks.
And as we go and look at the Panthers team, and I'm going to do this for you, Chris. I'm just going to boot you out for a second.
Whoa.
I'm just going to boot you out for a second. Boot you out for a second, Williams, because Chris wants to just...
Black Cat Boys, the famous Black Cat. So obviously this week they got Edwards, Taruva, Targo, Alamotti, To'o, Jack Cole at 6, Jerome Luai at 7, Viotta, Kenny, James Fisher-Harris, our own Scotty Sorensen, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo. Dane Laurie comes in on the bench for Tyrone Peachy, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, Matt Eisenhuth, and as my admins put in, Ivan Hot Dad Cleary. This Panthers team, obviously, we sort of spoke on it. They're being a little bit clunky this season as 3-time reigning premiers. Even when Cleary was been in the team, they haven't been exactly humming along and putting teams away. They've had a few quite tight tussles where they've sort of wrestled their way sort of Shark-esque and found ways to win. They've obviously lost May last weekend to an off-field incident where he's been the no-fault stand-down policy, and still missing the ever Cleary. So I think this is a team that we should handsomely handle the way we've been going. So I've got Sharks by 10 at home. It's going to be a packed Shark Park or PointsBet Stadium of 12,500 people, big crowd. So I think we'll handle this, especially the bench. We're going to overpower as usual.
I think the Panthers are doing enough, though, and they'll be very dangerous in the finals. Obviously, Cleary will be fresh. I heard them talking on SEN the other day, Joel and Fletch basically saying that he might only play maybe 8 regular season matches and be fresh and in form for the finals. So, as Boldo keeps saying, you need to be right at the right end of the year. If they just do enough to make top 4, which I think they've got the team to do that, they can do it again and probably get the benefit out of having a fresh star halfback.
I watched that game last week against the Warriors and Magic round, and they had it in hand in the first 20 minutes, and they were sort of just a lot of unusual errors in their own half where things they were sort of dropping the ball and players went in the right spot. It wasn't until Jerome Luai busted, he sort of went 60 metres himself and scored, and they went into tails up at half time. But
they were looking
again,
very dangerous. They were playing in second gear. Yeah,
they did. But again, like it was a Warriors team where Wade Egan only lasted, I think, about 10 or 15 minutes and lost to a head knock. There's no Sean Johnson, no Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. They were down on troops. They lost another couple of players, the HIAs as well.
They moved Nico Gluckstadt to the centres. They
had young Tuapiki at fullback who slotted a kick from the sideline. And then Dylan Edwards could have helped me and kicked a goal from 40 metres out with a minute to go and just shaved it wide. And they just
like 30 out just to the right.
Yeah. So, and even that, like I remember they played the Cowboys recently and they had that game in hand, and that's when Cleary was playing, and even they came and scored 3 quick tries in about 10 minutes and put them behind again, and the Panthers sort of wrestled control. So Isaiah Yeo saw the sin bin in this game as well and came back and scored a try. I know Fisher Harris got cited for a hip drop as well. So they weren't their usual selves. And like I said, they've been winning games, but they just haven't really sort of been putting teams away like they normally sort of do. So very up and down for them. But you've got to expect that, 3-time premiers, salary cap comes in the bite. There's a lot of players that aren't in that team anymore. So I'm still confident. I said this before we played the Melbourne game. I said we'll probably lose the Roosters, but we'll beat the Panthers at home. So I'm still going to say Sharks by 10 for me.
All right. Man of the people, that's what we'll be expecting at Shark Park on Saturday night with the Sharks. What are you looking forward to?
Mate, I think Panthers are going to come out fired up. I don't know if you guys caught the Penrith presser post-game last week. It went for 2 minutes 10. Cleary spoke for 27 seconds. Smart ass answers, just not wanting to get involved at all. Yeah, 14 Yo just beat himself up for about a minute and a half, and then Cleary got up and cleared out of there. So he's going to put a rocket up, and this week I think they will come out up for the challenge, but I just think we'll run over him, and I think we do handsomely. I'm going to go Sharks by 20.
Oh, Sharks by 20.
I think it's going to be a big score.
I like it.
So that means that unless when we can convince Franco to come back on the show, the Sharks tipping comp will remain as it is unless Franco deviates. But I thought I'd call I'm including this now in the Sharks tipping comp. I'm calling it the Harley score because Harley, you legend, always tips the Sharks. And so if Harley was in our tipping comp, so we're just going to put Harley in the tipping comp now, Harley would be on 9 and leading. So we should know better than that. So, that's where we're up to. All right. That is the Sharks versus Panthers preview.
Do you want to cover the comment that's come in about who do we lose to?
Oh, well, I was going to bring him up, actually, in the streak segment, Matthew.
Right, we'll save that. So, Ryan, stay there.
Ryan, your comment
we
is
good.
Have
seen your comment. We'll talk about
we
soon.
We do like your comment. We will talk about that soon. The next segment, however, on this lovely show of ours is going to be the Panthers and the Sharks who played for both teams. Now, we have a storied history of players switching to and from the Penrith Panthers. We had the Matt Moylan, James Maloney swap. We had John Lang and Martin Lang going across to them. Preston Campbell, of course, going as well. We had Wade Graham coming to us and forging a great career with us, and also Luke Lewis. So we thought it would be a bit of fun to have our resident, coach. I think we're going to call you coach of the ET stand now, Chris, because you do look like a coach, to run us through his all-time Sharks Panthers list. I guess we've got to get the
Who's
damn
Mark
going.
McGraw?
That's how you spell Mark McGraw. That's how you spell it.
It is. So there you go. Okay.
That's right.
There you go. Look at me go.
Yeah, Spelling.
I
All
thought
right.
there was no R in
Spelling.
there. I swear there
I
was
wonder
no
if I just
R
put-
in there.
Williams, I wonder if I just put hammer there. I wonder if you would have got it.
Yeah, well,
Gladiators. So
Gladiators.
interestingly enough, the boys brought this up as maybe a bit of a play, and I sort of went through it. Interesting enough, there was like a player like a Mark McGraw or Hammer from Gladiators and Craig Greenhill were the kind of the early sort of swap overs, but it wasn't until those early 2000s of
You'll find it's
Preston.
only Mark McGaw, not McGraw. Sorry, guys. There's no R. Baldo?
If you Google him,
Hey, it's on. Here we go.
McGaw.
oh no, there's a different guy called Mark McGraw.
Yeah. Gosh.
Wasn't he a cartoon character or something?
He's a singer.
If we had some kind of cumulative, like, just random trivia questions thing, I would be carving you up right now. God.
Actually, no, the singer was Mark McGrath.
Yeah, and there's Tim. Is Tim McGraw some country singer?
Yeah, Tim McGraw. Deviation.
Oh, well,
Yeah, sorry, Kelly. Carry
I'm
on.
going to say I
No,
corrected that. The Kellys had that correct. Sorry, Anique, you beautiful human being. I changed it.
He always rechecks her spelling, and I always have it correct, and all of a sudden we get spelling errors. But anyway, we do digress. So this is I went through a list. It wasn't until the early 2000s where we had the sort of Martin Lang, John Lang, Preston Campbell switching over, the Ben Ross coming on board, that it really sort of opened a doorway for a lot of players to come back and forth between Cronulla and Penrith. So it was interesting enough going through the list of players that had done so. A little bit biased towards it's a pretty good team. So I went Michael Gordon at fullback, David Simmons at wing, Mark McGaw, Sparkles McGaw, and our ET stand favourite, number 4, you're only a number 4, Ben Pomeroy. Whippet Brett Howland at 5. Of course, the premiership winning 6 at James Maloney. Preston Campbell, Daly had to go at 7. Big Benny Ross at 8. Our fan favourite, Kevin Kingston at 9, the only player to travel on the CSSC bus and come to a game as a current player and come as a fan. It was a pretty good sight to see that he came on a bus all out to Penrith with us. Big Martin Lang at 10, Luke Lewis at 11, our Clive Churchillist. Scotty Sorensen at 12, only because he was in that 2016 squad and he's now won a couple of premierships. And our captain, Wade Graham. I then put James Seguiaro at 14, Tyrone Peachy, Mrs. Norrie's son, Brian Norrie, and then Craig Greenhill at 17. So there are a lot of other players that have gone back and forth. It was obviously Baldo's favourite, Matt Moylan. I'm never going to find a space for him in that team over Maloney or Campbell. I probably could have put him over Peachy at Seguiaro.
Michael Gordon?
Can you get a spot on the
No, he's not going over Michael Gordon at all. There's no way he's going over Flash Gordon.
He hasn't been a fullback since about 2012.
Yeah, my admin asked me who Craig Greenhill was, and I reminded everyone that he's the first player sent off in State of Origin. So, and Seguiaro played at a bit of a dark time of our club, but he was a bit of a cult hero when he was coming through and scoring tries and doing the little fins up. So, that's my team that I put out there. Like I said, there are a lot. Matthew Reed could have gone in there. Paul Ayton was another one that was asked about, but I just thought Seguiaro had a bit of a better impact. Tyrone Peachy, obviously, the tie to his uncle in David. So, this is the team. If you go through the list, it's like I said, it's quite astounding. There's obviously a lot of players go between, obviously now the Panthers to the Bulldogs, and there's always the Para Dogs and Para Penrith as well, so that Western Sydney corridor. But yeah, quite a astounding list of players going back and forth. Thoughts, theories?
I'm just going to throw to the comments, Chris, and just say there is a lot of support for Matt Moylan, Harley, Matt Moylan, and then SJD comes through and said Moylan literally played fullback in New South Wales.
Obviously, perfect world, you'd go, okay, when Moylan was at his peak, you'd put him at fullback, but for a long portion of his career, due to the injuries, he couldn't play fullback. So Michael Gordon, we were commenting recently about how flashy, pardon the pun, Michael Gordon was for the Roosters, playing against us, and then also playing for us too, I think in the 2015 Cowboys game that we reviewed some time ago. So red hot side, like Craig Stapleton's another one that I suppose wouldn't make it, but was a handy prop. Same too, Nick Youngquist played some handful of games for both teams, became a professional model and marathon runner. So yes, there's plenty. That's a red hot side though. I love it.
Can that team win a premiership?
Close.
Yes.
Those halves, my goodness.
It's a dynasty, mate.
Yeah.
Was it a dynasty?
Especially number 4. Number 4 is killing it.
Ed Bomber, how many
Seguiaro
tries
off the
did that
bench.
guy get?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. Well, that is Chris Kelly's all-time Panthers. Look, SJD is also calling out that he just have Luke Lewis in every position. That's a team of Lomus. Also not a bad idea, buddy.
Joseph Paulo was another one, wasn't he?
Joseph Paulo was another one, yeah.
Did he
Johnny Dykes.
Joseph Paulo played Parramatta. Did he play for...
I think he did play for...
It was Penrith, Parramatta and Cronulla.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Good call.
Journeyman. There was a lot of journeymen, but yeah.
Can we claim ground announcer Scott McRae? I'm sure he spent a little bit of time down at Sharks at some point for a game or two announcing down there.
Probably. I think we can.
Back to the Moylan haters. Sorry, I was a massive Moylan fan when he was at Penrith, fit and healthy, firing as a fullback. He came to us, and I kind of look at it like, years versus games played, and it just kills me.
Year 1, 2018, you'd say we won the trade because Maloney was still a bit off. Panthers were still doing their 5-year, 12-year rebuild, and now everyone else has got egg on our faces. But where Moylan was great for us at 5'8", especially in that final against the Panthers. If Moylan could play the Panthers every week, he would have been Dally M every year. But not to be.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, look, we're going to move on to the taboo subject. So I'm going to give you the option, Lats, and you guys are going to dip out of this. You don't want to do this, do you?
Mate, I'm not getting involved in this. It's like saying yips in the bloody change room. I'm not getting involved in.
All right, well, Lats has gone.
Listen, my admin, Anik, my wife, tagged me in an article today that we haven't had a streak since 2016, and I just said, "Why did you do this? Why?"
All right,
so
you're gone.
No.
All right, gone. All right, so we're down to you and me, Williams. So we are going to talk.
I'm not here by choice. I'm here by my obligation. I hope I'm getting paid for this. I should probably be looking at the all-time best mocks, like kind of, it was 2015 when everyone was looking at the prelim final tickets in Melbourne and the like. If we know what happened.
That's true. All right, well, we're going to move to this mode. We will go like that. This is going to be some just brilliant on-the-fly work for me here because I wasn't expecting all of them to drop out, actually. So I'll just go like that. Bang, bang. All right, Matthew. So, look, I laid down the challenge to Matty and I said, let's talk about the streaks because how can we not?
Well,
it's...
Okay, my view on the mocks.
Well,
right?
even Ryan, the fans are like, some of our viewers are even asking it for us. So, what was it? Ryan's come through here. It's huge if we lose another game this year. Who do we see it happening? We only play the Panthers once, Broncos once, coming up, Manly, etc. When does it happen? Well, that's the thing to think about. So, before we get to answering Ryan's question about when we think that loss might happen, Matthew,
we lost the Tigers. We're due a poor match again. Even the best teams have off days. That'll happen against someone. Not sure who, but I'd rather.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Pass. Sharks winning streaks.
So obviously we're in the midst of one right now. So what better time to talk about it than right now? I'm a fan of not putting mocks on things, and I'm here under sufferance, but Joel Kane has a line. He says facts don't have feelings, and I agree here. I suppose let's look at the facts. So 2001, we won 7 matches, commencing with a win over the Raiders in Canberra, finishing with a loss to the Warriors. But we did run into the finals there pretty hot. We only lost 2 matches at the back end of that year, one of them being at the end of a 7-match winning streak. 1998, we managed to win 7 in a row and still didn't make the finals. We were injury affected.
Injury prone, that team, weren't we?
That was John Lang said that was his best team on paper, the best depth of squad that he had, and just injuries killed us. And we beat the Gold Coast in the final round, but not by enough. And we missed out on a top 10 that year. Whilst 2024, we've just beaten the Roosters and we're in the midst of it. So let's talk about it now before it all comes crashing down after we put the mock on this weekend. But that's what I will say, though, is if we do lose this weekend, don't go getting angry, upset, whatever. We've proven our credentials the last few weeks. We've got to get to the finals in one piece. Streaks, I was going to look at other grand final victors over the last 20 years or so and prove that streaks mean nothing. Yes, you got to win a lot of games, but you just got to get there as well in one piece and have luck when it comes your way, or hope that it comes your way with regards to roster availability. So anyway, that's 7 matches.
7 matches.
So
to the
lovely.
next.
1997, we won 8 matches mid-season there. 95, another good one. That was as we're coming out of the early 90s debt-ridden period now, running with that great squad of our President's Cup and reserve grade premiership winning sides from 94. All of them coming into first grade and going from there before it all ended in tears in the finals. And then 1978, that was a big year. So there's a bit of a correlation here. So 98's the only one amongst that where we missed the finals. And 2024, obviously, an asterisk, pun intended. We're not there yet, but a few more wins should see us get there. Moving on.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the Super League season that much in terms of, how good that was as a season and how good that team was. And
you always say you don't consider it a season.
I know. That's why we don't talk about it that much.
There's not that much coverage on YouTube of matches. There's a few. Like there's, I think our prelim final win over the Raiders where we won was at 10-4.
There were 2 wins over the Raiders in that final series, isn't it?
Yeah, there was. There's also a match on there which was a home loss to the Adelaide Rams. I think that was 28-16. That's on KO, I think. But there's not much coverage of and there's the Super League Grand Final as well. We can relive the Russell Richardson try, but we'll find some 97 content.
Fair enough. All right, 8 matches in a row. It's a pretty good streak.
Yeah. So
you notice that Peachy is involved in 4 of the streaks that we've had on this so far. Jeez,
you could draw a direct link between his form and those streaks that we went on. He was on. Anyway, 1988, we won 10. And that one that was before my time. Do you remember who they lost to finish that one? Was there a draw in there? I think that similar.
I don't remember who they.
Yeah, I'd have to look up
that streak. I remember how the final series went.
The
1988 team and also the 89 team. They were just an absolute cracker of a team. With Gavin Miller and Hatch and John O'Docking and a young Andrew Eddinghausen and Barry Russell and Speechley and the previously mentioned Mark McGraw in that team. There's Alan Wilson floating around.
So where are we? In 1988, finished with a win over. We beat the Dragons, and then later that year we lost. There's a few periods too. In 2016, we'll talk about in a sec, but it obviously had a draw in there as well. So we're talking about winning streaks, but there's also a few lengthy undefeated streaks where we in 1988 technically went 12 matches without loss because we had 2 draws in there as well. So that's probably.
Well, I just think that winning streak. Once we had that draw against the Gold Coast in that 2016, I just think the streak was over.
Oh, it was. It ended that streak in the best possible way, I suppose. And there wasn't a loss, but we got pumped by Canberra the following week. But we'll move on to that one. So there's
the next streak. This one's getting a lot of love actually. So everyone's like SJD's called out that the 2002 streak. Well, it came out of nowhere.
It immediately followed 7 losses in a row. Do you remember who we kicked it off against?
Now you're testing me. No, I can't remember that.
We were down 13-0 at halftime to the St George Illawarra Dragons.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that one the other day.
Willie Peters, I think it was someone who kicked the field goal right on halftime. Peachy had, I believe, given it to Hayne on the way off, and I think the ABC radio coverage had picked it up. He was talking with his hands before he was talking with his hands, and then we came out and scored 34 unanswered points in the second half, and things kicked off from there. Do you remember how it ended? We've spoken about this one. The old changing rules on the eve of the finals. So,
of course,
fireworks.
Round
26. Fireworks purchasing round 26 against the Roosters and everything they stood for. So that was a fun winning streak though. Had some good wins there too. 64-14 over Newcastle was notable. They beat some big teams on there, including the Roosters.
Does anyone know what's next?
Everyone would. Surely. 2016.
And look at the picture that I've picked for the streak as well. The great international Gerard Beale.
Gerard Beale. So, do you remember how this one started?
We'd lost to Manly, and then we went on and just a winning streak from then. That's what I remember.
There's a correlation between this year and that year. So we'd lost round 3 this year, obviously the Tigers, that year to Manly, and then we beat the Storm. This time around we beat the Raiders, I suppose, but we beat the Storm at home, 14-6, and the rest was history. We carried on from there, and it just kept on going and going and going and going, despite the Bulldogs game looked like we're gone for all money. Maloney kicking up the sideline. We've spoken about it enough. We'll look at 2016 in a few years' time when we do the 10-year anniversary. But wow, what a time to be a Sharks fan.
What a time to be a Sharks fan indeed. All right, well, look, so let's just, how are we going to summarise the current streak that we're on? This team right now is good. They're not as good as these other teams yet. So, you know, those peachy teams and Gavin Miller and that 2002 streak and obviously the premiership winning team, those are great teams. So whilst it's fun to be able to talk about us being on a streak, I don't think we should perhaps get too far ahead of ourselves.
Enjoy it each week. Yet. It's a cliche, but enjoy it. It doesn't happen often. I think it was Kelly or someone said, this doesn't happen often. So hopefully it does. Hopefully we turn to a Penrith and we get borderline sick of it. But in our history, like topping the table, it doesn't happen often. So enjoy it. Enjoy each week. You might have young kids. It's difficult to explain to them that don't understand that, hey, we aren't always this good, but we've just beaten 2 red-hot sides. We've got the opportunity again to do it this week coming. The following week, we'll get the opportunity to beat Parramatta, who are going through all their coaching issues right now, and who knows what will happen there. On paper, we should smash them, but we don't know what will happen. So enjoy it while it lasts. And if and when it does finish, it's not the end. 2016, it looked like the wheels had fallen off. We lost when it finally did stop. We lost 3 straight to some terrible opposition. South and Dragons were horrible that year, and we didn't turn up. And I must admit that I was in the process of going, oh gosh, the wheels are falling off before we even made the finals. But you never know what will happen. This side is building, and it's exciting.
All right, streak chat.
Nah. That's enough of that. I don't want hearing any of this garbage. We can't talk about streaks. Come on, who's with me? Who else have we got here? Let's bring the lads back.
You're back. Right. I thought you weren't talking to me. Anyway.
Well, I tell you what. We
good thing you took over, because Baldo's internet in London just went to poo just then. Like he looked like were we watching the moon landing?
That's because the people of London don't want to hear about the streak either. You can't talk about the streak. Have you not seen the last few weeks? Andrew Johns talking about Hines will kick this and then he misses. Vossi and Corey Parker mentioning the perfect completions only for an incomplete set the next moment later. You can't talk the streak. You may as well have the betting agencies throwing up a market for the next loss. It's ridiculous. It's just not something we should be talking about. Yeah, well, just don't put your money on that one. Just don't touch it. Leave it alone.
It's like Baldo saying sing the song 10 minutes in when it's 10 all or something like that. So
well,
leave it alone.
Did say that. Kelly, I'm listening to the debrief, the end of the debrief saying Kelly did say kind of 4 minutes to go. We live in this environment. Sing the song now. I'm like, nah, 8 points against the Roosters, who are just ready to score 2 tries like that. No, we saw how the end of the first half went.
Can I just say as well,
to sing the song pre the end of the game ever, but we're digressing. Sorry, Franco, I'm hijacking again. Where's that end stream button?
That's okay. Look, SJD says I prefer the naked streaker streaks, and you know what? Maybe in the good old days, but there's a few poor looking naked streaker streaks these days. I'd rather they keep themselves a bit wrapped up just quietly.
I prefer the Tommy Turbo Corso streak where he pulls his hammy again, but that's true.
No, that was a shower. He was in the shower, remember?
Oh, true. Yes.
He's done 2.
Oh, there's twofold.
Yeah. So, no, mate, Matty talking over me. Jeez, the debrief debacle. Far out. Firstly, you killed the stream. Then there was Baldo, who brought the stream back live without telling anyone. Lats, who didn't get the technical difficulties message up quick enough. Kelly, who was certainly late to the second party. Everyone was at fault except for the fans who put up with our shenanigans and me. I was perfect. That is, if you ignore me floundering like a Bambi on ice. Jeez. Apologies all. That was definitely rubbish. But
we're not realising it stopped.
Mate, I had that technical difficulties thing out in the Facebook groups before you even knew we were live.
Oh, God.
I'm going to hijack one more time. I'm not sure if we showed it. One final thing. So, Mr. Laura, I hope that's pronounced correctly there, to quote 12th Man.
It's probably McGraw and Boldo's just spelled it wrong.
Could be. I can't believe his name, Mark McGraw. Mark McGraw, sorry, far out. Yeah, he played for, God, goodness knows, close to a decade. But, yeah, thanks, mate. God, I was 9 and fully locked into the 2002 season. I hear you, mate. I was about 14, 15 at the time, and it was peak rugby league. How good. And then, yeah, you were left crying in the stands versus NZ. I think a lot of us were. We won't mention any further than that. But that's the end of that talk of the 0-2 streak. I hope you had a chance to reminisce on good times. I'm not David Balderman, who loves talking about streaks. End of story here. Back to you, Franco. Sorry.
I do think we need to do an episode on the end of that streak, just a whole episode on how that ended and the shenanigans around that.
Can I just say on that 0-2 game that my wife and I were only dating for a couple of weeks, and Boldo was that angry that he just left her in the middle of the nowhere near the train station and stormed off in a different direction. And you're talking, this is 2002. There was no mobile phones and finding people, just gone. It was horrendous. And I'll also say as well, the reason we're not talking about the streak is because many teams have been in this situation in the month of May. We always give Dragons fans a lot of curry about being the May premiers and falling off the wagon. I'll also note that this time last year after Magic Round, South were currently first in the league with the best defence and didn't even just fell over with an absolute whimper at the end of the season and now find themselves the hole they are right now at Wooden Spooners. So I did say to Williams and the boys, enjoy what we're having at the moment, because instead of being in the media for the wrong persons and things like that, at least we're enjoying winning. We're not worrying about what's going to happen next week. Let's just enjoy the ride and how good it is. Club's in a good position. It's so much fun.
It can go on in the blink of an eye, and we know that the media, up until anything other than a grand final victory, will say they've vindicated if and when we lose. So just don't listen to them. Just carry on enjoying it. And
Speaking of commentators, Williams, after Boldo's rant on Corey Parker, I was asked to go through some commentators that hate the Sharks. Hate's a strong word, maybe bias, but a couple of these guys really hate the Sharks.
We'll tread carefully here.
Funny thing is, though, I don't think we've been in a better position for commentators and their attitudes towards the Sharks. Now, remember, true to the cause, this bias works both ways. In the heat of the moment, anything a commentator says can feel like an attack on the mighty Sharks. However, taking an emotion out of it, we have nominated from the bloke I just flicked, Boldo. He says Corey Parker. Now, look, he started out questionably and seemed to get his back up at the Sharks. But honestly, I don't really see it. And if it was there, it's certainly not as bad now. Probably another reason I had to flick Boldo for this terrible choice.
I think Corey, we seem to get him when we're playing against a Queensland-based team, or especially the Broncos. A few years ago, that was diabolical. I think during COVID, he was commentating and he was basically saying us and we, and we're like, just get off, go away. We know you're an ex-Bronco, just no, go away.
Yep. So, but he's pretty good now. I think he's worked out his mojo. He's no longer. I don't think he's on any coaching staff. So it's all a little bit better for young Corey Parker. Now, as I said, we're all in a pretty good state now. But previously, Gaznia, boy, did he avoid giving us an inch to the Sharks.
2016
faithful.
Was a study in his I would say just absolute devastation at how we were winning every week and he was burning inside, and every week without fail tipped the opposition. It was fantastic. It was so good.
Always talking the team down. Geez, I know during his time behind the mic, the Sharks weren't that hot, but you're right, Williams. 2016, he had no excuse. It was just awful.
If I was in that position, I'd probably be saying the same about the Dragons. I still don't think their 2005 and 2010 teams were that crash hot, but anyway.
Mate, he had no excuse to be a commentator, that bloke. Fair dinkum.
Well, where is he now? Where is he now?
He kind of dropped off, didn't he? Disappeared. Maybe he didn't fit the shark-loving narrative.
There you go.
That said, he's maybe allowed to have strong feelings being a Dragons legend, and so I'll probably let that pass because I do like the Sharks versus Dragons rivalry, the derby. I like to think that it is a little bit more than superficial for some players, and if that's what carried it through for him, then You know what? I'm okay with that. But someone who doesn't get that same pass, Laurie Daly. Now, I have no idea why he was so against the Sharks. There were some rumours that he became a Dragons fan past his playing days, but geez, that is a weak excuse. Though, for someone whose smartest line was the team who scores the most will go a long way to winning this one, probably doesn't faze me that much that he doesn't like the Sharks.
Can I just say there is a theme going here of ex-players who think they can become commentators and haven't really practiced the nous of doing it. So I kind of get it.
Scotty Prince.
Scotty Prince, for example, comes to mind where he just couldn't even do a huff. I think of the April Fool's prank they pulled on Thurston 2 years ago. They're still playing to this day, where they left him hanging to bring back the teams at halftime. So I think they have a long way to go to learn about commentary. So we have seen, and I think I don't know if another bloke makes the list of hating Sharks, but Blocker Roach, mate, I can't stand when he commentates. It doesn't matter what team it is. Terrible. He's still living in a different era, a different type of rugby league, and it's kind of like Fatty Vaught now. Fatty Vaught's just there for the comedy factor, but yeah,
I'm both Blocker and Fatty. They kind of bring back 90s footy show peak memories, and I think Blocker cops a lot of stick. And you're right, he's some terrible turn of phrases, and he's very much still caught in that era, but it's a refreshing kind of innocence from him. I definitely know that there's nothing unless the Tigers are playing. There's nothing's one-eyed. I don't think. He just literally calls it how he sees it. There's no unvarnished or there's no conceited Phil Gould style second opinion. But
I'll just say, like you just said, he calls it as he sees it, where he doesn't actually see it. He actually goes, "What was that penalty for?" And everyone's telling what the rule was and what actually happened. He goes, "That can't be that." And they show a replay, and you're like, "What were you watching?" Like I can see better from my TV at home, and you're at the ground, mate. Like, come on.
Or he'll say something, and they'll tell him that he's that rule was changed about 4 years ago or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I love him as a player. He's a great guy, but there's just some people don't translate from playing to commentating. So
it's an innocence.
Very much.
Blocker's an innocence, but
then who else could there be? Who else could there be? But none other than Gus Gould. Okay. Interestingly, along with the theme, he's not as bad as he used to be. Anointing the Great Shark Park as the Bermuda Triangle, a term that I'm still not sure about. I'm on the fence about whether it's a backhanded compliment or a term of endearment. A Shire local with a family full of Sharks fans.
It's a backhanded compliment. He basically says that it's not to do with the way the Sharks are playing. It's to do with the stadium, and suddenly teams start playing poorly. Never mind the fact that the Sharks actually have built a fortress, or an effing fortress, as our friend Pierre has called it lately, over the years. No, it's a massive backhanded compliment from Gus. I'm going to choose my words carefully here. But yeah, he always has an ulterior motive. He always has some other scheme that he's playing. Of course, he doesn't like us, even though his family loves us. His family are Shire, born and bred, big Sharks fans. I think his son was in the junior system, but yeah,
he was.
Look, I love the Bermuda Triangle. For me, it's teams come there and become discombobulated. They can't work out which way the wind's going. Like you said, how the Sharks are winning this game against an informed team. It's a boutique ground. I love that kind of thing where just weird things happen. The ball bounces funny. You can have 24-0 swings either way in the half. I love it. I don't think it's too much of a backhander, but
I certainly love the stadium having a moniker. I think there is a charm, especially in Australia, to give a name to something that adds endearment. So, it's certainly not the eighth wonder of the world or whatever they give Leichhardt, but
which is not. But it's better than
a toilet.
Not having a name. So, unfortunately, Gus can use it to deflect wins to the stadium and not the hard work that the Sharks put through, which is a shame. But you're right, Williams. His family are all Sharks fans. Maybe he's playing devil's advocate and he's actually a closet Sharks fan. I'm not too sure. Who knows? But he certainly loves Tommy Hazelton. Now, speaking of Tommy, and back onto Boulderman, again, him giving anyone who watches the lower grades a hard time for having an opinion. not only did I call that Hazleton would be a success, I predicted that he would be a try-scoring machine. Let's go, Tommy. Seriously, Mark McGraw, what does he even know, Boldo? Gosh, that'll do me. Far out. Finally, I enjoyed flying under the radar, and it's okay that the media has started to pick up on us, but I am sick to death of this blasted asterisk. Gosh, let's get rid of it. Let's go. I don't know when that's going to happen. That asterisk has a streak of its own.
I'll make it part of it. Take it all the way to the grand final, put an asterisk against it. I mean, the Dragons should have against their 2010 premiership, right? So if we have our own asterisks, just play it up.
Wear it with pride.
That's it. One guy I will give a shout out to. I think I spoke about him a couple of weeks ago, maybe offline. Was I'd mentioned Trevor Gilmeister. It was incorrect. It was Billy Moore. So back in early 2016, when we were on a streak, we put 40 on Canberra in Canberra. I think we won 40-12. James Maloney scored a couple of tries, including a length of field intercept. Ben Barber scored all the rest. We were really flashy. And on NRL 360, classic Paul Kent and Ben Eichen turned around and said, and I think it was Crawley as well, Sharks, no, kind of wrestle ball, flano ball, Asada, blah, blah, blah. And Billy Moore, who has nothing to do with the Sharks, went to town on them. He's like, did you Muppets even watch the match? They put 40 points on in Canberra. They probably should have put 50 or 60 on. They're throwing the ball around. And they're like, oh, no, flano ball, Paul Gallen this, Dow that. It's like, they put seven tries on. You guys clearly didn't watch it. You're not fit. And he just, unfortunately can't find anymore, but I remember watching it going, how good. I'd never had any time for Billy Moore. He's a Queenslander, ex-North player, but that showed, it was like, there's an agenda. I mean, we get thin-skinned at times, but there are those.
We've lost Matty.
With another one's gone.
End stream. He's ended the stream.
And Mal couldn't bring themselves to comment on our win against the Storm without mentioning the asterisks. So, yep, you're right, Nathan. Absolutely.
I find the asterisks a bit funny in that Melbourne Storm game because, look, they didn't have Jerome Hughes. They had months. They didn't have Pappenhausen. But if you look at this season, most of the time at the moment, they are playing without those players anyway, and they flogged Parramatta on the weekend, losing those guys. So I think us having the shootout win over the Roosters, I'm sure the asterisks will come back if we beat Penrith because, like I said, they're down on a couple of troops themselves. But, yeah, who cares? We don't care.
Oh, well.
You can say asterisks.
Kelly,
can you...
Can you... Oh, look, he's back. He's back.
I punted myself.
At least you didn't end the stream, mate.
Yeah, I call conspiracy. No, I think I know what's going on there. Anyway, back, but carry on. Disregard me.
Kelly, can you give us your around the league update, please?
Yeah, Franco, before we go to that, sorry, Chris. No mention of Brandy Alexander.
I think Brandy Alexander's bias for the Panthers just makes him seem against any other team that they're
Sharks
playing
especially. Sharks especially, mate. He's going to be even more angry at us after Saturday night. Get over it, Brandy. Build a bridge and get over it.
You reckon?
Franco, you left your favourite off the list, Dan Ganane. I thought he was going to be number one.
No, this is not bad commentators. This is commentators that hate the Sharks.
And it's not bad commentators that hate the Sharks.
Have you shown SJD and Nathan's comments?
Oh, look at that. We have not shown that one. So SJD, Vossi, Brandy, and Ennis are your favourite commentators. Brandy is great. Lats apparently will be low in his 3-2-1. Lats will be low. Yes, finally. Maybe I'm getting up there.
Fair enough, SJD.
Right.
Sorry, Fitzy.
Hit us, CK. Round the league update.
Are you going to drive this, Franco? I've decided to update the round the league roundup this time with a bit of a slideshow. So,
well, I don't have access to
razzle dazzle. I believe it's been put in the private chat.
Is it going to be Williams or is it going to be?
Is it anywhere?
Yeah, it's in the
private chat, Franco.
Oh, jeez, this is.
Oh no,
this is awesome.
This is what happens when the guy dips off.
maybe Williams, can you drive the PowerPoint here?
I don't know.
Without killing us?
Yeah, exactly. Where are we getting the slides from? Jeez, amateur hour.
Here we go. I've got it. I think I've got it.
Franco's up.
I think I've got it.
Oh, just while we're waiting, Brad Fittler, Yes. Dear, oh dear. Protected species he is.
Yeah, I don't know how some of these guys have still got jobs. You kind of shake your head, but yeah.
I don't think Nico's on Brad Fittler's Christmas card list.
Nah.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the two Grahams, they were doing a good job in our old captain Wade and James Graham on Triple M. I think they're doing a really good job as ex-players.
Yeah, fantastic.
Most of the current ones, instead of, we all love Innes, what he did in 2016, but he pretty much yells your TV down. So I know he gets a lot of complaints of how loud he is. So
James Graham's the only levelled one on 360. He's the only one that talks sense. Unbiased.
Well,
anyway.
The other guy, I don't think he's going to come back, so...
At least his watch is safe.
There for a while. Oh, look at this! Come on, I decided to have a bit of. Oi.
Here we go, razzle dazzle.
Look at that! Look at that! It took
this.
me a little bit to get it there, but once I got it there better than Boldo did. So
Correct.
I don't know.
There's a lot of people say that, mate. So. All right, so our first, obviously, around the league is some coaching news that we've got around the league happening. So the worst. Oh, we're going to start with Magic Round. Might as well. All right, we'll go with Magic Round, which was obviously a massive success again in 2024 with the crowd. I think they carried to 149,000 over the 3 days. All 3 days were sold out. As you can see from the picture there, there's just a complete mix of fans across the league. I know the crowd was really loud for the Warriors, as usual, coming back over the Premiers, and everyone had a good time from all association. They have signed on again for another 3 years to host it in Brisbane. So I know Zach's already hit me up to when he turns 18 for us to go up there and do a podcast and show him the ropes of how to get around 3 days of Brisbane. So we'll see what happens there. But interesting enough, they had the highest viewership ever for Fox for the time slot of the Dogs Raiders match, and the highest ever blockbuster at 5:30 of Sharks versus Roosters was the highest time slot game in viewership for Fox Sports for that game as well. So pretty interesting. I guess everyone loves Magic Round. What are you guys' thoughts? You love it, hate it, want to go, jealous? What's the go?
I think.
Yeah, I like it, mate. Big fan.
Yeah.
Be good fun. Good week. Good weekend up there.
Obviously, not being there, it's obviously a different atmosphere because it's just regular NRL on the TV, right? So you soak up as much as you can, however you can. I imagine being there, it would be fantastic and a great weekend. But you know what? We just know that the Queenslanders love rugby league. So it's probably, if it's going to happen, that's the best place for it to happen. I think it's the best place for it to succeed.
Climatically also.
Yeah, massive.
That time of year.
Great standard football. Obviously, it was warm and dry and fast track. Good thing there were some injuries over the weekend, but it's not like everyone's talking about that.
No crackdowns.
No crackdowns and nothing attached to the actual ground. So if we go on to our next bit, which is obviously the worst kept secret in the league, happened this week with Wayne Bennett signing on for South for the next 3 years at God knows how much money. And on the other side of the scale, Brad Arthur was let go by Parramatta yesterday after 11 years of service. Unfortunately, today is his 50th birthday, so he's celebrating that without a job today. But there was a bit of fronting by the board of Parramatta saying they were chasing Wayne for the last 3 weeks, but that kind of fell apart. Obviously, Wayne was never not going to go to South. So a few more coaches movements. I'm sure Brad Arthur will find a job at some stage, given his experience. Look, he 11 seasons, 5 finals appearance, 1 grand final, obviously no premiership. But like I said before, Ricky Stewart still maintains his job for another 20 years at Canberra, and Brad Arthur finds his way out. So
we play Eels week after next. So Thursday week, we play them. Trent Barrett's taken the interim coaching role, and he's beaten us before with the Bulldogs. We've joked before. I think he's still celebrating that win. So we've got to be careful. They've been underperforming. They've got a decent team. They should be doing better than they are. I do feel a bit for Brad Arthur with the way it's handled. Some analogies, I suppose, with the way we parted ways with John Morris, but we'd announced we'd signed a coach for the following year. Eels have not. So it's a bit of a basket case scenario with how they've done it. Listening to SEN this afternoon, they're like, why would you go through that? Realise you haven't got Wayne, still get rid of him. You haven't got anyone to replace him. Who do you replace him with? It's not like there's big coaches on the market. So, yeah, no, it indicates how much of a shambles Parramatta continues to be. We'll keep doing touchwood.
You've got a lot of friends and family, CK, who are Eels fans. Are they glad to see the back of of Arthur, or are they?
Look, it's kind of one of those things where you can sort of see he got as much out of his squad that he could. He sort of did all the same sort of things he could get there. You got to remember, like hasn't had Moses for about 10 weeks now. He's got obviously Gutho out as well, but they faltered last year with the same squad, so things could have gone a little bit better. Like William says, we've got to play them in a couple of weeks, and that could be missing some Origin players, and they probably have Moses back, who's not going to play Origin. So that might be the end of our so-called Boldo streak. Could be the danger.
What do you make of that Moses holdback? Do you think that's tactic?
No, apparently it's a pretty serious injury in his foot, where it's the slowest. I was reading the NRL physio was saying it's the slowest bone that the blood can get to because it was a small fracture in his foot. So the recovery process is quite long. So, yeah, but again, listen to James Graham talk about, and we've all seen it, they sort of got the Paulos and the RCGs that aren't really sort of performing to their level. They've had players in and out. I know that they let go of Reed Marnie, which is probably their biggest mistake, because they went and got Hodgson from Canberra, and now they're back to a couple of young fellas. So, a bit of a strange squad. They're not like us, where they got it. We keep talking about depth, where they're sort of really, they got that young Blaze Talagi, but he's played 1, 6, 3. So, I think
he wants out anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he's coming off contract. He's obviously demanding a bit of money at the moment. So, I just think 11 years is a pretty good tenure for a coach, but it's been longer than Williams has been alive that Parramatta last won a comp. So, I think they're looking for a bit of success. I don't know who they're going to get next, though.
Any candidates?
Look, the league pundits like to throw up the next couple of guys. There was no mention of your old mate Morris in there. There was obviously Jason Riles as the next man up. But like William said, you think you sort of look at the guy, if you're missing Bennett, why you're pushing Arthur out mid-season. Like, you should have just let him see out the rest of the year and see how they went. I never had him finishing top 8 this year anyway, so I don't know why you get rid of your coach when it's not really going to change. We've seen Barrett before. Coaching isn't really sort of up to standard as well. So Dogs.
Imagine that. Imagine having your coach sacked for underperforming, and then they leave you with Barrett for the rest of the year.
Yeah, like I just
God,
when they go to interims, I find it a bit funny unless there's a real reason to get rid of your coach. I don't know why you do it. It's the same at South at the moment. Like, you got Ben Hornby running South. Like, I like Ben Hornby. He's a nice guy, but is he an NRL head coach? I don't know. Like, it's a bit of a strange one. It's not really like you're changing anything. Like, Trent's been there the whole season with Brad, and same as Hornby's been there with JD all season. So I don't really see you're not changing anything. You're just getting rid of the guy at the front. So
he's been a part of the poor performance. So
yeah. You think you get rid of the whole coaching stuff.
There was an interim coach under Stewart.
Yep. And Peter Sharp was, and Hannah. Yep. Anyway, the old days we don't like anymore.
James Shepherd.
Obviously the Origin injury curse continues. Munster re-injuring that mystery groin that he keeps pulling. He went down with about 5 minutes to go in that first half. They're saying it's going to be at least towards the finals. He's going to miss the whole Origin series. We just touched on Mitchell Moses. He's not going to play at least game 1. And if you think he doesn't make game 2, unless something happens, it's not going to go. And Bradman Best continued the run of hamstring injuries, where he's facing about 4 to 6 weeks at this stage. So we continue on with those hamstrings. And last Thursday night, I don't know if anyone watched it, but I watched the whole game. I didn't really expect to watch it, but it was unbelievable. Is our five girls that made the Origin team or squad, with Ellie Johnson absolutely killing it for the game. They won 22-12 in quite an entertaining and thrilling game that I thoroughly enjoyed, that New South Wales got up 1-0 in something. And given that the Queensland girls already played a few games up in their own competition and the New South Wales girls hadn't, it was actually one of the highest viewerships on a Thursday night or for NRL. So good luck to the girls. Did really well. And they get a 3-game series to prove their worth this season for once. So
good on them. That was an entertaining game, that. Very entertaining game.
So good, yeah.
That Chapman, she's electric.
Oh, the Chapman try was just... I think that was it. Was there one more? Is that it?
I don't know. Well,
and obviously this week is round 12, is Indigenous round. So there's our lovely jersey. Go out into the Shark store, get your discount, get your 10% off, because why not support the Shark store? The money goes back into us. I know I'm going to get one myself because I love merch. Why wouldn't I buy one? I think they're great.
That's a doozy.
So this week is Indigenous round, where all the teams we wear in their Indigenous jersey, obviously designed by a local artist or artists they've seeked out in the Indigenous community, and I think they're fantastic. Thoughts, Williams?
Oh, I think it's great. It reminds me a bit of I think it was the 2022 one, but obviously better again. So I know my 6-year-old we got him one cheap at the end of the season from some store in Queensland, the 2022 one, but I think he's very keen to get one despite the asking price. But yeah, if you can get down there, obviously support the club and use your member discount. You should all be members. If you're not, sign up.
Yeah, and Latz obviously loves it because he's got one in the background there, so he loves.
Yeah, I've got Geordie's one in the background that he got last year. Yeah, it's a beautiful jersey. I was watching a clip one of the guys did on it, and it was stating that the reason behind the stingrays is that there's a place you can go to in the Port Hacking that has actual Aboriginal paintings of these same stingrays from thousands and thousands of years ago. So it's pretty special, and fits the area. Lovely.
They've got a whole range, CK, shorts and singlets and stuff.
They've done a training shirt as well, I believe.
Yeah. So if you're not keen on forking out the 150 or 160 for a jersey, they've obviously got a range of shirts, shorts, singlets, and things like that get on and wear one of them as well.
Yeah, as JD was asking what our Indigenous round record is. Not quite sure. I do remember a big win on the Coffs Harbour against the Gold Coast a few years ago. So we've got at least a few wins in there. But I think also 2022, we Indigenous round got pumped by the Roosters at home. So probably a bit of like anything, without having studied, don't know off the top of my head, but probably a bit of a 50-50 record.
Very good. Very good. Well, I guess with that in mind, is there anything else that anyone wants to talk about, touch on before we look to wrap this up?
Long show. Baldo's not coming back, clearly.
Not coming back. I've kicked him out. I've locked him out. He is done.
Are we going to get Williams to end the show tonight, guys? Or
Too soon.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Hit the like, subscribe.
Yeah, up next week we'll have the Sharks, or on Saturday we'll have the Sharks vs Panthers debrief. For those curious, I am tipping the Sharks. It'll show up live not long after the end of the Rabbitohs-Eels game, so Rabbitohs following us again, it seems. I can't wait. It should be a cracker of a game that everyone in league is excited for, so hopefully Williams won't kill the stream this time.
I don't think I won't be on the show, so eliminate the hazard. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. No,
Sorry, fans. I won't be there. I won't be there either.
Oh gosh.
I'll be there.
You and me, lads. We've got this. All good. Well, thanks very much, everyone, for hanging with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We did not hit the 200 subscribers that Boldo thought we would by the end of this video, but my money is on crashing through that ceiling for the bye week. The likes and subscribes really do help. If there's someone you know who's a Sharks fan and doesn't know about this podcast, let them know. Get them to join in the fun. Also, currently we're on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and Facebook. If there's somewhere else you think we should have a presence, let us know and we'll see if we can get our content up there. If you missed the show live, drop some comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on the game and the season in general, and we'll get up to you because we do read those and respond to them as well. If not on the channel, we bring them up live here. So thanks very much once again, everyone. Up Cronulla. Thank you, Williams. Thank you, Lats.
Thank you, mate.
CK.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.